I was already in the Middle East doing some internships with different NGOs in the area, and I heard about the Jesus Trail, and one of the founders and I decided it was really important to have a guidebook for the trail. And I've done some writing and a lot of study on the history in this area, so we decided to collaborate and write that guidebook together. I walked the Camino de Santiago in the summer of 2009. The Camino de Santiago is an ancient pilgrim route from basically all over Europe to Santiago de Compostela. So in medieval times, people would make this trek of several hundred up to 1,000 or more miles across the continent for different reasons. Some people wanted to be healed of a disease. Some people were looking for penance if they had done something wrong, like a murder or a theft or something like that. And other people just wanted to see these holy sites, kind of to see what all the fuss was about. And this idea sort of was resurrected in the 80s, where the Spanish government put a lot of money and time into the infrastructure of this trail. And now 150,000 people or more per year will walk this trail. So when I started in Saint-Pierre-de-Port in France, which is about 500 miles from Santiago, over 200 people were starting at the same time. So people sometimes ask me, oh, weren't you afraid walking all across Spain all by yourself? But I was never all by myself. There were so many other people on the trail, which was a pro and a con in some ways. It was easy to feel like you were just part of a huge crowd, and often it didn't feel like people necessarily had a very spiritual focus, that it was more like an inexpensive holiday or vacation. But at the same time, there was something very unique about the idea of a moving community, that you were people from all over, and you were there for different reasons, but you had a common goal, and that was to make it to Santiago. So that was a really special experience. And I see that sense of community sometimes on the Jesus Trail as it becomes more popular. There's just something so special about Christians from all over the world, diverse people, seekers and Orthodox believers, and people on all kinds of a spectrum coming together with a common vision and goal. Santiago is different in a lot of ways. It's much farther. I walked about 500 miles. Some people walk even more than that, and the Jesus Trail is 40 miles. There's also a system of municipal albergues or hostels that are very inexpensive, sometimes as little as €2 or €3. And on the Jesus Trail, it's not quite that inexpensive. There's not quite so much infrastructure. At the same time, on the Jesus Trail, there's a bit more of a feeling of wildness to it, that you are not on a path that thousands or millions of other people are on, but you're on kind of a unique and personalized path in a way. The Jesus Trail offers so many different unique things. On one hand, there's just so much history along those 40 miles. Many trails you might walk for a week before you see a historical site, and here you can hardly walk for an hour before you see a Roman ruin or an Ottoman ruin or a prehistoric ruin. You could sit in a field and sort of feel in the dirt, and there's a mosaic. There's just history everywhere. And at the same time, there's a lot of diversity that you don't see hardly anywhere else in the world, where you can walk between a Jewish village and an Arab village, where you can talk to Muslims, Christians, Jews, Druze, migrant workers from Thailand, secular people, tourists from all over the world, other pilgrims. So I think the history and the diversity of people are the two most important things that it offers. It also just offers a beautiful experience in nature. You can do that many places in the world, but there's something really special about that synthesis.